In the bustling streets of New York City, on October 2, 1890, Julius Henry Marx entered the world, oblivious to the fact that he would one day become known to millions as Groucho Marx, one of the most iconic figures in comedy. Born to a tailor, Samuel Marx, and his ambitious wife, Minnie, Groucho was the third of 5 sons. The Marx family lived in a cramped apartment in Yorkville, a neighborhood predominantly populated by European immigrants. Life was tough, and the Marx family faced financial hardships that forced the young boys to grow up quickly. Minnie Marx, however, had dreams far beyond the confines of their modest life. She was determined that her sons would escape the struggles of poverty through the world of show business. From an early age, Groucho was thrust into the spotlight, not out of personal ambition but out of necessity. He began his career as a boy singer, performing in vaudeville shows to help support his family. His first stage name was Master Julius, and though he had some success as a singer, it was his natural wit and comedic timing that would soon set him apart from others. Groucho's early performances were marked by a nervous energy that manifested as a rapid-fire delivery of lines, a style that would later become his trademark. But those early days were anything but glamorous. Vaudeville was a tough business, and the Marx Brothers faced rejection and ridicule before they found their stride. Through perseverance and a deep-seated need to succeed, they began to carve out a niche for themselves in the competitive world of live performance. The turning point for Groucho came when his brothers joined him on stage. The Marx Brothers, Groucho, Harpo, Chico, Zeppo, and Gummo, developed a unique brand of comedy that combined slapstick, satire, and absurdity. Their act was a whirlwind of jokes, physical comedy, and musical interludes, with Groucho emerging as the ringleader. His character was that of a fast-talking, wisecracking, cigar-smoking rogue, a persona that audiences found irresistible. By the 1920s, the Marx Brothers had transitioned from vaudeville to Broadway, where they achieved tremendous success with shows like Il Sait She Is, 1924, The Coconuts, 1925, and Animal Crackers, 1928. These shows were more than just performances, they were cultural phenomena that attracted huge audiences and critical acclaim. Groucho's sharp wit and irreverence became the cornerstone of their act, and his character was often the one to challenge authority figures, mock societal norms, and deliver biting social commentary. One of the secrets to their success was their ability to adapt their vaudeville routines to the stage, maintaining the spontaneity and energy that had made them popular in smaller venues. Groucho's interactions with his brothers, particularly Harpo and Chico, created a dynamic that was both chaotic and controlled, a blend of madness and genius that captivated audiences. The Marx Brothers were no longer just entertainers, they were stars. The success of their Broadway shows led to the Marx Brothers being courted by Hollywood, and in 1929, they made their film debut with The Coconuts. The transition from stage to screen was seamless for the brothers, and Groucho, in particular, thrived in the new medium. His face, with its exaggerated mustache and eyebrows, became iconic, and his rapid-fire delivery of lines made him a perfect fit for the fast-paced world of early talkies. The Coconuts was followed by Animal Crackers, 1930, Monkey Business, 1931, Horsefeathers, 1932, and Duck Soup, 1933, each film cementing the Marx Brothers' status as Hollywood royalty. Duck Soup, although not initially a box office success, is now regarded as one of the greatest comedies of all time. In this film, Groucho played Rufus T. Firefly, the unscrupulous leader of the fictional country of Fredonia, delivering some of the most memorable and biting satirical lines in cinematic history. Groucho's humor was sophisticated, yet accessible, and he had an uncanny ability to mix highbrow and lowbrow comedy. He could deliver a line that was both a pun and a social critique, making audiences laugh while also making them think. His interactions with Margaret Dumont, who often played the wealthy, clueless matron in their films, became a beloved staple. Dumont, known as the fifth Marx brother, was the perfect foil for Groucho, and their on-screen chemistry was electric. She was the straight woman to his chaos, and together they created comedic magic. By the late 1930s, the Marx Brothers' star began to wane. The frenetic energy that had once made them so popular started to lose its appeal as audience tastes evolved. The brothers struggled to keep up with the changing landscape of Hollywood, and their films from this period, while still humorous, did not achieve the same level of success as their earlier works. A Night in Casablanca, 1946, and Love Happy, 1949, were among their final films, and though they had their moments, it was clear that the Marx Brothers era was coming to an end. As the brothers began to drift apart professionally, each pursued their own interests. Harpo and Chico continued to perform, but it was Groucho who found new life outside of the Marx Brothers' collective identity. He moved into radio and television, proving that his wit and humor could transcend mediums. In 1947, Groucho became the host of the radio quiz show You Bet Your Life, which later transitioned to television in 1950. The show was a perfect vehicle for Groucho's quick wit and improvisational skills. Contestants were often caught off guard by his humorous asides and barbed comments, but audiences loved it. You Bet Your Life ran for over a decade and was one of the most popular shows of its time. It introduced Groucho to a new generation of fans who may not have been familiar with his earlier work with the Marx Brothers. The show's success also helped cement Groucho's status as a cultural icon, ensuring that his influence on comedy would endure even as the Marx Brothers films began to fade from memory. Despite his professional success, Groucho's personal life was far from perfect. He married 3 times, and each marriage ended in divorce. His relationships with his children were also complicated. Groucho was a strict and sometimes distant father, and his daughter, Miriam Marx, later wrote about the emotional difficulties she experienced growing up with him. Groucho's wit, which had brought so much joy to audiences, was often a defense mechanism to shield himself from his own insecurities and unhappiness. In his later years, Groucho struggled with loneliness and the realities of aging. He had always been a man of great intellect and curiosity, but as his health declined, he found it increasingly difficult to maintain the sharpness of mind that had been his trademark. The once vibrant comedian who had dominated stage and screen became a frail shadow of his former self, and this decline was painful for both him and his devoted fans to witness. The final years of Groucho's life were marked by controversy. In the early 1970s, a woman named Erin Fleming entered his life. Fleming, who became Groucho's companion and manager, was a polarizing figure. Some saw her as a caring figure who provided Groucho with companionship in his final years, while others, including Groucho's family, accused her of exploiting the elderly comedian. Fleming's control over Groucho's finances and personal life led to a bitter legal battle with Groucho's son, Arthur Marx, who sought to remove her from her position. The legal disputes over Groucho's care and finances were widely publicized and painted a troubling picture of the difficulties faced by aging celebrities. Groucho, once a man of boundless energy and wit, was now caught in a web of legal and personal turmoil that contrasted sharply with the public's image of him as a comedic genius. On August 19, 1977, Groucho Marx passed away at the age of 86, succumbing to complications of pneumonia. His death was a quiet affair, overshadowed by the death of Elvis Presley just 3 days earlier. It was a tragic irony that Groucho, a man who had brought laughter to millions, would leave the world in such a subdued and unceremonious manner. Groucho's funeral was a private event, attended by close friends and family. It was a stark contrast to the vibrant, larger-than-life persona that had captivated audiences for decades. The once irrepressible comedian had been reduced to a frail figure, struggling with the ravages of age and the complexities of his personal life. Yet, even in his final years, Groucho retained a glimmer of the sharp wit that had made him famous, often using humor to cope with the indignities of old age. In death, as in life, Groucho Marx left behind a complex legacy. He was a man who had revolutionized comedy, bringing a unique blend of satire, absurdity, and intellectual humor to the forefront of popular culture. Yet, his life was also a cautionary tale about the costs of fame and the vulnerabilities that come with aging. The controversy surrounding his final years serves as a reminder that even the most celebrated figures are not immune to exploitation and suffering.